Hello everyone. In this session, we will be looking at creating the Reliant Party Trust on the accounts partner, which is company A. And in our last session for ADFS, we looked at the different parts of the accounts partner. We said that the accounts partner, which we will call the Reliant Trust, has an enterprise CA, which is a certificate authority server, a domain controller, and an Active Directory Federation server. The Reliant Party Trust is responsible for creating the claims and issuing the claims that will be sent to the partner company, that company that has the resources. And in our session today, we're going to see how we go about creating this Reliant Party Trust. We're going to go to the server manager. We're going to click on Tools, Active Directory Federation Services Management. And we're going to add Reliant Party Trust. We can add Reliant Party Trust in the Actions panel by clicking on Add Reliant Party Trust, or we can right-click here on Trust Relationships and say Add Reliant Party Trust, which takes us to the wizard that helps us create this Reliant Party Trust. The trust that we're going to create will define how this federation service recognizes the Reliant Party and issues claims to it. And in our last session, we talked about claims. And we said that the claims would be made up of whatever identifies that person. It could be the user's birth date, it could be their name, it could be the group that the user is in. Other things besides your username and password. And these claims are then passed to the partner using the token. I'm going to click on Start to continue with this wizard. And we come to the page where we need to select the data source. So we have to select an option that will be used to obtain data about the Reliant Party. The Reliant Party, in our case, is company B, the company that has the resources. And we have three options here. We can import data about the Reliant Party published online or on a local network. We can import data about the Reliant Party from a file, or we can enter data about the Reliant Party manually. For the second option here, import data about the Reliant Party from a file, if you do not have a direct connection between the two servers, you're going to want to use the second option. We talked about the certificate server and the certificate that is issued using the accounts partner. We're going to be using the certificate server. That certificate has to be trusted by the second server. So when that certificate is created, it has to be transferred to the partner company, which is company B. I'm going to click Next. Here, Federation metadata contains all the configuration information about the other server. Another Federation server can read this information and use that information. And this is under endpoints, as we saw in our last video. I'm going to continue. I want to pause a moment here to show you how we're going to issue that certificate and transfer that certificate to the partner company, company B. The first thing we want to do is to open our MMC, and we can do that from the run prompt by typing MMC. Once the MMC is open, we want to click Add Remove Snap-in. And we're going to choose the certificate snap-in. And we simply click on Add to move the certificate snap-in into the selected snap-ins in the right-hand pane. We want to click on OK. In the next screen, we see we're asked to select the account, either my user service account or computer account. And for our lab, we're going to select computer account and click Next. Then you want to select the computer you want to manage. And we're going to be managing the local computer. So that's already selected. We move on to the next screen. And we can click on OK. And we see that we're in the certificate console. What we need to do here is expand certificates local computer. Then you're going to see the personal node. You want to expand personal because we want to click on certificates. When we click on certificates, it shows us the certificates that were issued. And the one that we want is the third certificate here. So we're going to click on that certificate. And we can see that the certificate here is opened up. We have the general tab, the details tab, the certificate path. And we right now are on the details tab. And what we want to do with the certificate is to copy to file. So once we have that certificate, we can open the certificate, make sure we're on the details tab, and select copy to file. A wizard will open up, and the wizard will help you copy the certificate. So you want to go ahead and click on Next to continue. You're asked to export the private key with the certificate. You can choose whether or not you want to do so. For our purposes, we select No. We're going to click on Next. And we have to select the format that we want to use for the certificate. And we're going to choose that .cer format. And that is the default certificate type. And we're going to click Next to continue. We type the name of the file to export. We can browse for that file, or if you remember where it is, you can simply type it in. We're going to click Next to continue. And we see here that the certificate has been exported successfully. We want to click on OK. Now, once that certificate has been exported, you can now take that certificate to the second server. Remember that you need this SSL certificate to secure communications to the websites that are running on the Federation servers. And in our case, we have a separate web server, but your web servers can be on the Federation server itself. So if you save the certificate on an external or you're sending it across the network, you just need to find it where you saved it. You can use Windows Explorer. And once you find that certificate, you can open up the certificate by double-clicking on it. And on the General tab, you want to click on Install Certificate, because we're now installing that certificate in the company partner. was company B. So we click install certificate. And once we do that, we're going to get a wizard. And this time, the wizard is going to help us import the certificate. Remember, our last wizard allowed us to export. Now we are on a server in the second company, company B, the company that has the resources, and we're importing that certificate. We choose the local machine and click next. Windows can automatically select a certificate store, or you can specify a location for your certificate. We're going to go with the first option, click next to continue. And we can see that our certificate has been imported successfully. You can go ahead and click OK. Now that we're done with the certificate, let's come back to add in the Reliant Party Trust. Remember, you need to have that certificate if you're going to be setting up ADFS. So now we're back on the wizard that allows us to add the Reliant Party Trust. We give a display name for the Reliant Party Trust, and if there are any notes that we want to write about the Reliant Party Trust, we can add them here in the note section. And we know that we're going to be using our Reliant Party Trust to provide claims. So let's call it claim server. Click next to continue. The next thing that we need to do is to configure multi-factor authentication for the Reliant Party Trust. And this is required if there's a match for any of the specified requirements here. If you're dealing with a group, you have to configure that group or device or location. But if you do not want to configure multi-factor authentication for this Reliant Party Trust at this time, then you have the option not to. So we're going to choose this option for our exercise, the first option. So we click on next to continue. And here we have what we call issuance authorization rules. And these rules determine whether a user is permitted to receive claims for the Reliant Party Trust. And you can choose one of the options shown there for the initial behavior of this Reliant Party's issuance authorization rules. But even if you configure that now, when we're finished creating the Reliant Party Trust, you can always go back and edit this rule. So you have permit all users to access this Reliant Party, deny all users access to this Reliant Party. Those are the two choices that you have here. And just noting again that you can make a change to this by editing the claim rules in the action panel, as we saw when we actually looked at the different components of the Reliant Party Trust in our first session of ADFS. We're going to choose the first one, and we're going to click on next. Now, the Reliant Party Trust has been configured, so you want to look at the settings that you configured. Make sure that the settings are what you want. And if you're sure that those are the settings you want, then you click on next. We're going to take a look at some of the tabs here. And we're looking here at the signature tab. Let's click on the accepted claims. And we can see the claims displayed here. And the Reliant Party Trust has been configured. And we're just simply looking at some of the things in the Reliant Party Trust. And we see the claims, the claim types that are going to be used: email address, given name, UPN, common name, group, role, surname, name ID, and so on. Click on organization. And if we have information about the organization, This is where we will find it, your endpoints. We have the URL for the federation endpoints. Notes, we had put claims server, and under advanced, we see the encryption that we're going to be using. Let's click on next to continue. And we see that the Reliant Party Trust was successfully added to the Active Directory Federation Services Configuration database, but we can make changes by editing the properties of the ADFS management snapping. Can also edit the claim rules, and here if we have the tick on, then that claim rules box will open up where we can make changes. And if we did not have the tick on, we can close and we can actually go back into the console and we can edit those claim rules. We have the tick on, so if I close, the edit box should jump up. And here we have the edit claims rules dialog box for the Active Directory Federation Services account server, the server that is responsible for issuing the claims. Now we have here on the tabs of this rule dialog box, issuance transform rules. And these rules allow the rules to be transformed before being sent to the other party. That's what that one's for. We have the delegation authorization rules, and this allows rules to be created that determine whether or not a user is able to impersonate another user. The one that we want to look at here is the issuance authorization rule, because that tab allows you to add new rules. So once we click on issuance authorization rules, you're going to see that we have here, we can choose the rule type and we can configure the claim rule. We're going to choose send group membership as a claim. So you have some templates here. You can choose from those templates. Yeah, the one that we're going to choose is send group membership as a claim, meaning that if you are in a particular group, we're going to use that as part of your identification, and that will be in the token that is sent across to company B, the partner company. Click on next to continue. So the template that we chose is send group membership as a claim, and it tells us here what that entails. And any template that you click on, you will see a description of the rule. Let's look at this description. Using the send group membership as a claim rule template, you can select an Active Directory security group to send as a claim. That means that if you have admin group or help desk group, you might want that group to be able to access resources, and you can use the group name as part of the identity of the persons that you would want to access those resources. For this particular rule, only a single claim will be emitted from this rule, and that will be based on the group selected. For example, you can use this rule template to create a rule that will send a group claim with a value of admin or help desk or whatever you want that group to be. If the user is a member of the domain admin security group, then that user will have access. This rule template should only be used for users of the local Active Directory domain. So each template that you choose will have a description. You'll be able to see what that description entails. Once you click on next, and on this page, you can give the name of the rule. You can set group membership, and we had said that we were going to set the group claim. So you can browse here and send group membership as a claim. We're going to be using the claim type, specify claim type, and we're going to see that that will take us to the group. When you click specify claim type, the down arrow will allow you to choose the type, and we said that we wanted group. So we're going to click on group here, and that will allow us to choose that group type. We're just editing the rule. Remember that after we have configured the relying party trust, we can go into the console and we can edit that claim, or we can even configure a new claim. So we took a look at adding the relying party trust, and we went through the steps that we need to add that relying party trust. We also took a look at exporting and importing the certificate. This is the end of our session on the relying party trust. I want to thank you for listening.